What are you gonna do, Karen?
That's not my name, so get my name straight.
You okay, Karen?
People have done stupid things for attention, but just how far would you go for fame?
Did you guys talk about being on the news and getting to see each other on TV and stuff?
Yep.
What kind of things did you say and talk about?
Mostly about how we were planning on killing more people.
Yeah.
At the top. And we would become famous.
From killing their family members to terrorizing their neighborhoods and eventually killing them, the teens in this video did the most despicable and unimaginable things just to get famous.
They say 14-year-old Clair Miller was standing outside, apparently trying to wash her hands of the in the snow.
So what really happened? And how did that work out for them? Let's explore.
Broken Arrow 911. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, where are you at?
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma 7411.
What address?
709 Magnolia Court.
Okay. Are you the only one there?
No, my brother's attacking my family.
Your dad is attacking your family?
No, my brother.
This distress call came from 12-year-old Daniel Bever, who told the dispatcher that his brother was attacking everyone in their family. Daniel was part of a huge family consisting of parents David and April and 6 siblings: Robert, 18, Michael, 16, Crystal, 13, Christopher, 7, Victoria, 5, and Autumn, 2. David worked in the tech industry, while April was a homemaker who also homeschooled the children. According to the neighbors, the family mostly kept to themselves, and the siblings were often seen playing alone in the backyard or mowing their lawn.
Anytime that I would take my kids to the park, my kids would run up to their fence and try to talk to them, and the kids would just turn around and even run from my kids and run back in the house.
Their mom, April, who married David when she was just 15, had a Reddit account where she would often share her experience of raising and homeschooling 7 children. In one post, she described herself as tired, happy, blessed. In another, she said that she would not change her children for anything in the world, saying in part, "I would never give up having any of my children so I could have more money. They are amazing people and the world will benefit by having them in it. And nothing I could buy or invest in could compare to giving a person a chance to have a life." On the other hand, David was said to have been very mean and aggressive with the children, and would sometimes hurt them physically. On July 22nd, 2015, at around 11:30 p.m., Crystal went over to Robert and Michael's room to tell them that their mom wanted them to do the dishes. She was standing at the door when she noticed that her 2 brothers were wearing body armor and had multiple knives laying on the bed. She didn't even know what to think when she heard Michael ask Robert, "Should we do it now?" And Robert said yes. There was something off about her brother's behavior, but Crystal couldn't tell what it was. So when Michael asked her to come in and see something on his computer screen, she innocently went in and didn't see Robert coming behind her with a knife and running it through her neck. She fought back by reflex and continued fighting through the vicious attack. Somehow she managed to get out of the room and run to her younger sister's room and tell her to lock herself in the bathroom. April heard the commotion and came up to check what was going on, and what she saw left her completely horrified. Before she could turn around and call for help, Michael jumped on her, unleashing a frenzy of at least 48 knife strikes all over her body. The 2 killer brothers then went room by room, unleashing their attack on their family members. They hit their dad with a blunt object before jabbing him 28 times. 7-year-old Christopher and 5-year-old Victoria had locked themselves in the bathroom. To get to them, Michael pretended that he was also being attacked and asked them to help him. Innocently, Christopher and Victoria opened the door, thinking that they were saving their brother. But instead, Robert jumped in and used his knife to finish them off. Meanwhile, 12-year-old Daniel had locked himself in his room and was on the phone with 911. Michael came and used the same strategy of pretending he was under attack to get his little brother to open. And when he did, Robert came in and mauled him to death.
Daniel was in his room, which is down the hall, and I was like, "Let me."
How old's Daniel?
I think he's 12.
Okay.
And I was like, "Let me in," and he let me in. He was sitting on the phone with the police. I grabbed the phone.
When this was going on, Crystal, who was severely injured, tried to get out of the house and set off the alarm. But her sicko brothers had already turned it off, so she ended up collapsing on the front lawn as she tried to go for help. When she came to, she found Michael dragging her back inside and heard one of her little brothers screaming somewhere in the house. The police arrived around this time and found red fluid all over the sidewalk and the front step. They also heard a faint voice calling for help from the inside. When they broke through the door, they found Krista lying in a pool of red, barely alive. As she was being carried into the waiting ambulance, she managed to tell the police that her brothers, Robert and Michael, were the ones who had attacked her and her family. The police were shocked by the level of brutality that the two teens inflicted on the family members. David, April, Daniel, Christopher, and Victoria were found dead with wounds everywhere, including the face, chest, neck, arms, and abdomen. The only family member that was unharmed was 2-year-old Autumn, who was found sleeping soundly upstairs.
It's hard to just even imagine why someone would do something like that to a stranger, much less your family.
The two killer brothers had escaped through the back door and were hiding in the woods, but the police were able to track them using canine dogs, and they were brought in for questioning. Police photos of the brothers show them covered in mud and red body fluids with their clothes torn. They even appear to have some bits of flesh on them. One of the detectives who arrested the boys would later say, "They weren't upset, they weren't distraught. It's almost like they had a sense of cockiness." Another detective said that one of the boys, probably Robert, had a smirk on his face.
5 members of the brothers' family found to death. Their parents, David and April Bever, their 12 and 17-year-old brothers, and their 5-year-old sister. 2 siblings survived the rampage. A 13-year-old sister is in the hospital tonight, and the family's baby, a 2-year-old girl, the only one left unhurt.
Detectives interrogated the brothers separately as they tried to figure out why they committed this horrible crime. It didn't take a lot of convincing for Robert to confess everything. He told the police that he and his brother had been obsessed with serial killers and mass for a long time. He thought that if he took more than one person's life, he would become like a god and get famous. He started planning to kill his family when he was just 13 and even got a job at a call center to save money for buying knives, body armor, helmets, guns, and bullets. Their scary plan was to end the lives of their entire family, even their 2-year-old sister. After that, they wanted to remove their heads, throw the remains in the trash, and hide them in the attic. They planned to make 2 videos, one with the bodies to give the police, and another without bodies or gory stuff to post on YouTube. After that, they were going to steal the family car and go on a spree in town, hoping to harm at least 50 people. The detective who talked to him later said that while telling this horrifying story, Robert was actually laughing and smiling, getting a bit excited at some parts. Robert's interview has never been released to the public, but Michael's has. He told detectives that it was his brother's idea and that he didn't want to do it, but Robert threatened him.
Did you guys talk about being on the news and getting to see each other on TV and stuff?
Yep.
What kind of things did you say and talk about?
Mostly about how we were planning on killing more people.
Yeah.
And we would become famous.
Big Brother's telling me he wants to be famous, and you guys are making these plans. Surely you want some of that fame too, right?
Yeah, I do want to do it with him because he's going to do it no matter what. He says if I don't do it with him, they'll just kill me too. Or leave me there. So do it with him.
Yeah.
So y'all have been planning this since 30th of June, you said?
Yeah.
That's the first time y'all talked about it?
Well, not the first time we talked about it, really anything about it.
Michael kept going back and forth with the police, refusing to admit that he had killed anyone. But eventually he confessed to taking the life of his little brother Christopher and his mom.
This is your last chance to just kind of let us know, to be honest, to man up and tell us exactly what you did and start making it right.
I hit Christopher. It's not Victoria with Daniel.
You did not.
Yeah,
You
I believe she was walking around.
He said that Robert was very specific about the plan. They were going to sweep their family down like ninjas with swift and silent blows. But when it all started, nothing went as planned because everyone didn't die as they were supposed to. Both Michael and Robert were charged with 5 counts of first-degree homicide and 1 count of assault and with intent to kill. Despite being only 16 when he committed the crime, Michael was charged as an adult. Their sister Crystal, who had survived the attack, testified against the two, saying that Michael and Robert talked for a year about ending their family and stealing money. She said that her brothers admired mass shooters, wishing more of them got away with their crimes. According to Crystal, the brothers would say that there were too many people in the world. Crystal said that she had told her mom about her brother's concerning behaviors, but her mom dismissed her, saying boys will be boys. At first, both Robert and Michael had pleaded not guilty to the charges. But later, Robert changed his plea to guilty so as to avoid getting the ultimate sentence. He was given 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole.
There's no chance that Robert Bever, the older of the 2 teens charged with the deaths of their family, will ever leave prison. Earlier this afternoon, Robert Bever entered a guilty plea during his arraignment.
In July 2016, it was reported that Robert had attempted to end his own life using a bedsheet, but a detention officer found him and cut him down. Robert later testified in his brother's defense, saying that it was all his fault and that Michael just went along with his plans. He claimed that he was responsible for all the deaths and that Michael did not kill anyone.
Robert was on the stand all day long today testifying in his brother Michael's defense. Robert said, looking back, it's unfortunate this plan ever came to fruition. He says, for a long time the plan wasn't real. It was just something he thought about to make himself feel better.
Robert did admit that Michael helped him take his siblings' life by tricking them into opening the door for him. This detail, together with Michael's confession to the police, convinced the jury that Michael was just as guilty as his brother. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As for Crystal and Autumn, the only surviving members of the Bever family, they were adopted by the same family, so at least they are together.
You said I'm an
18-year-old Zachary Latham was not what you would call an ideal neighbor. He was emancipated at the age of 17 and moved in with his grandparents in the Vinland neighborhood, New Jersey. At the age of 18, he got married and joined the New Jersey National Guard as a private. Now, Zach loved fast cars and would often race around the neighborhood, completely disregarding everyone's safety. His next-door neighbors, the Durhams, had confronted him multiple times about his dangerous driving, but Zach didn't seem to care. Instead, he became obnoxious and rude, and even started recording these confrontations and posting them on TikTok, while referring to the mom, Catherine Durham, as a Karen.
What are you gonna do, Karen?
That's not my name, so get my name straight.
You okay, Karen?
Now, Zach already had dreams of becoming a social media influencer, but none of his videos on TikTok were getting the attention he wanted. That was until this one.
He posted on TikTok, and that has 760,000 views. He turns the corner here, and the Durham family's outside doing yard work. It was a beautiful day, and he yells out the window, hey Karen, we went viral on TikTok.
The video got over 3 million views, with some people even encouraging him to continue messing with Catherine because they thought it would be hilarious. And that was exactly what Zach needed to continue his reckless and disgusting behavior.
Get my tag.
Joe,
Get my tag, Karen.
my name is not Karen, so get my name straight.
Get my tag, it's okay.
Sometimes he would even seek Catherine out and taunt her for content. Of course, the Durham family didn't like that, and one of the sons even tried confronting him, daring him to get out of the car. But Zach warned him that he was armed with a knife. He later posted about it on TikTok saying, Karen's son found out the video went viral and tried taking me out of the car. Blow this up for part 3. In another video, which Zach posted just a week before the tragic incident, but was later taken down, Zach was shown holding a gun and then commented, "This is how you handle neighbors." I know you're wondering why the Durhams never involved the police, but apparently they did. But the Vineland Police Department reportedly refused and told them that they couldn't file a complaint because the courts were closed due to the pandemic. Other people in the neighborhood, including a judge and several law enforcement officers, had also contacted the police about Zach's behavior. But what's really interesting is Zach had posted a video talking to a police officer who told him that he wouldn't arrest him even when there was video proof of what he had done, though it's not clear which incident they're referring to.
But you won't do anything even though you saw video proof, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
For your video, that is correct.
Thank you.
The escalating tension between Zach and his neighbors would reach a boiling point on May 4th, 2020, when Zach reportedly swerved his car towards the Durham's 17-year-old son who was riding his bike in the neighborhood. At this point, the Durhams were fed up, and the dad, William Durham, decided to confront the teen. He pulled his truck into the street to block Zach's vehicle, and then Catherine Durham walked up to Zach with her phone recording and confronted him about the swerving incident. The video, which is no longer available, shows Zach throwing an elbow at Catherine, knocking her phone away, and speeding off towards his house. When he got to the house, his wife, Sarah, who was recording the incident with her phone, walked down the driveway to confront the Durham sons, who had come onto the property, because the whole family was involved in this situation. They had all had enough of Zach's behavior and went up there to confront him. Sarah told the Durham sons that they better back off because they were not going to like what was coming out of the house. According to the prosecutors, Sarah was recording because she knew what her husband would do, and they intended to post these videos to TikTok and become TikTok famous. When William Durham arrived in his truck, Zach came out of the house armed with 2 knives and a stun gun.
He was about to confront, went inside the house and retrieved 2 knives and a stun gun.
Despite being warned by both Zach and his wife to get off the property, the Durhams, who were clearly unarmed, continued to approach. And at that moment, Zach fired his stun gun and swung a knife at one of the sons. William grabbed at Zach, who then slashed him in the right arm with a knife and retreated into his garage, followed by his friends and William. Zach would later claim that William attacked him in the garage and he had to use his knife to defend himself.
Put me in a chokehold and then was attacking me, backing me, like he was holding me and the sons were punching me. And then they threw me on the ground, started stomping me, kicking me.
William ended up with multiple jab wounds, including one under the armpit that punctured his lung. Zach then called 911 to report that he had just been attacked.
All over the place. I just got getting jumped. Are you the one that got? No, that was the other victim, but I got really bad and I all over me. Said they had guns and they were going to kill us, and they came in my garage and attacked all of us.
Sadly, William was pronounced dead at the scene. Zach claimed that the killing happened in self-defense.
It's not self-defense. If it was self-defense, he would have entered the house and never came back out, and he would have called the police.
Zach was charged with manslaughter, aggravated assault, and weapons offenses. But Catherine and her sons were also charged with assault and trespassing. In court, Zach's lawyers called the deadly interaction a mob attack, saying that the Durham family had ganged together to confront Zach at his home and he was only defending himself. However, the lawyers representing the Durham family wanted Zach charged with first-degree murder and argued that he had deliberately lured them into his house through the earlier confrontation with their son for him to carry out his attack for social media clout. If Latham was in fear for his or Sarah's safety, they both would have retreated inside, called the police, and stayed there. They did not, because their intent was to lure the Durhams there, attack them, and record it for TikTok. They also blamed the police for not taking action sooner, saying this tragedy was completely avoidable had the Vineland Police Department and the Cumberland County Prosecutor's Office taken action against Latham to stop him from terrorizing the Durham family and other neighbors in the months prior to Tim's murder. Compounding this tragedy is the manner in which the Durham family has been treated as criminals themselves when they are victims. In a shocking turn of events, Zach was found not guilty of the charges.
Not guilty. Thank you. Sir, you may be seated. All right, as I indicated, now, juror number 1. Yes. No longer full person, now juror number 1. The verdict you just reported, was that your individual verdict? Yes. Juror number 2, same question.
Yes.
This case was an absolute tragedy. The entire endeavor. There are no winners here. Mr. Latham, you were successful in your defense, but you still have to live with the events of those days and the consequences of it.
Do you support this verdict? Let me know in the comments.
This 14-year-old girl is accused of stabbing her sister to death in their Lancaster County home. Police say Clair Miller repeatedly told officers, "I stabbed my sister."
Clair Miller seemed like a normal teen from Manheim Township, Pennsylvania. She had a loving family and attended Lancaster County Day School. She was also a frequent TikTok user and was known for mostly posting videos of her lip syncing and dancing to popular music. At first, her content was mostly fun, positive, and lively, and she had garnered over 20,000 followers. But then, her followers started to notice that something was changing with her. She was no longer the cheerful, carefree girl. Instead, she was now gloomy, and there was a darkness that seemed to be hanging around her.
Like I'm dead, you killed me, I'm dead now.
On Monday, February 22nd, 2021, at around 1:08 a.m., Claire called 911 to report that she had killed her sister. Officers arrived at the scene within 5 minutes of the 911 call and found Claire waiting for them outside of the house. She was barefoot and drenched in gore. Claire repeatedly started telling officers, "I stabbed my sister." Claire's sister was 19-year-old Helen Miller, who had been diagnosed with cerebral palsy and was bound to a wheelchair. Claire had helped take care of her for years, and the two seemed to get along well, which makes what happened so shocking to everyone who knew them.
It's shocking and tragic. It's not the kind of thing we would expect in our neighborhood. It's very quiet and peaceful.
Earlier that night, Helen was sleeping peacefully in her room when Claire crept in with a kitchen knife and started to viciously attack her in the neck. She didn't stop until Helen lay lifeless in a puddle of her own body fluids. But she wasn't done yet. She actually took a pillow and held it over Helen's face to ensure she was completely gone. The girl's parents were reportedly asleep when this happened. Can you imagine the shock that they got when they woke up and found the police in their home and then learned that one of their daughters had killed the other? That's a nightmare that no parent ever thinks they would have to deal with. After confessing to the murder, Claire directed the police to her sister's bedroom, where they found Helen's lifeless body lying in bed with her face covered with a pillow that had red stains on it. One of the officers removed the pillow and saw a knife sticking out of Helen's neck, just above her chest. Helen's hands were up near her head, and the officers noticed a large amount of Helen's chest and on the bed. The officers attempted to resuscitate Helen while waiting for emergency services to arrive. It was already too late. Helen was pronounced dead at 4:13 a.m. Claire was immediately arrested and charged with criminal homicide.
Police say that when they arrived here at 1:15 a.m. this morning, there was actually on the snow on the ground, especially right here in the driveway. They say 14-year-old Clair Miller was standing outside, apparently trying to wash her hands in the snow.
News of the alleged murder caused a frenzy on TikTok, with many users discussing what may have happened. People started going through her previous videos, with the last video from her account gaining millions of views. In fact, the last video posted on the account had amassed a shocking 4.9 million views. TikTok eventually took it down, saying that the account violated community guidelines. But though the account was removed, many had already screen recorded some of the videos and posted them on YouTube and Twitter. One of the videos that got a lot of attention showed Claire venting about her dad with the caption reading, "My dad has to stop opening the conversation with, 'This is just like the gay bar in Japan.'" The video was reportedly posted a day before the murder, and many people in the comments pointed out how eerie it was, knowing what would happen later. Another video showed Claire's dad goofing around with the family, including someone who looks like her sister. People in the comments pointed out how happy and normal the family looked. However, there was one particularly disturbing video that was allegedly posted on Claire's account after the killing. It shows a glove and a stuffed giraffe toy in the snow. The video's connection to Claire is only assumed as her account got deleted, and the video doesn't have her account name. Police haven't confirmed its legitimacy yet, and some people think that it might be staged to get attention. Although she was only 14 when she committed the crime, Pennsylvania law dictates that all murder trials start in adult courts, with the accused taken to adult prisons. Claire's family and lawyers tried to get the case transferred to a juvenile court, but they were unsuccessful. During the hearing, her lawyer claimed that Claire was going through depression and psychosis when she committed the crime. 2 psychiatrists who examined Claire testified that she was hallucinating and hearing voices that told her to take the life that night of the killing. But instead of harming herself, Claire decided to fight back and began knifing the hallucination. She only realized what she had done when she saw her sister. The psychiatrist said that Claire was psychotic that night, and that she's still a child whose brain is not yet fully developed, and that should be taken into account by the court. Claire's parents, who testified on her behalf, begged the judge not to put her in prison. In her testimony, her mom said, "We love both of them. I know Claire did not mean to do this. We lost Helen, and we don't want to lose Claire too. We don't want her to be punished, not get help, and be put away for a long period for something that was out of her control. We can't lose her too. However, the doctors who saw Claire while she was being held in jail said that she was acting normal, with no psychiatric illness. Also, officers who were at the scene testified that shortly after Helen died, Claire cried now and then, but was not paranoid nor frantic. Another officer who interrogated Claire told the court about a chilling comment that happened while at the police station. Someone at the station had a ringtone of a horror movie, Halloween, in which the boy serial killer murders his siblings. When Claire heard the ringtone, she reportedly said, "I, Michael Myers, my sister." And that was not all. When an officer brought her fast food for breakfast, she reportedly said, "Ooh, McDonald's. I'd have killed someone sooner if I knew I'd get McDonald's." The prosecution described Claire as a teen who had it all, but was obsessed with suicide. He used some of Claire's videos on TikTok to show that she was always thinking about violence and murder. In one particular video, Claire had screenshots from a Japanese video game series named Danganronpa, depicting a scenario where a group of high school students are manipulated into committing murder by a creature named Monokuma. Claire also posted a video featuring screenshots from a Korean comic titled Killing Stalking, narrating the story of a young man who, grappling with mental illness, undergoes torture and abuse from his uncle during his military service. There was also another video showing Claire lip-syncing to the song by Carol's daughter. The prosecution also mentioned that Claire texted her friends telling them of her desire to harm someone. Even after killing Helen, Claire had sent a text to her friends saying, "I'm so sorry guys, I just killed my sister." The prosecution said that Claire loved her sister Helen, but she was an easy target and couldn't fight back because of her condition. In March 2023, Claire pleaded guilty but mentally ill to the charges of third-degree murder.
Miller was sentenced to 12 and a half to 40 years in prison, pleading guilty to third-degree murder. A Lancaster County judge overlooking the case determined that Miller was mentally ill but not mentally disabled.
Although the motive of the murder has never really been officially established, there have been speculations that Claire did it for clout. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts about these cases in the comment section. And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button.